Ladies and gentlemen, in just 7 weeks, Donald Trump has eliminated the Ayatollah Khamenei and 40 of his top Iranian officials. Now we're talking to the JV team, decimated over 90% of Iran's large naval vessels that are at the bottom of the ocean, sunk or incapacitated, financially crippled the Iranian economy with the blockade. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Iran has agreed to bring down their blockade and hand over the leftover uranium after 47 years of terror. Trump finished this in about 7 weeks. And so we got a lot to break down, ladies and gentlemen. If you are enjoying the content, smash that thumbs up button. That's the very best way you can let me know. And subscribe to the channel to stay locked in with all future videos. Now let's get right into it.
Yes, and President Trump just got on Air Force One for a quick trip to Arizona for an event that we'll see later on today. He didn't take any questions, but he just told CBS News, he basically explained why it is that he is so confident a deal is about to be closed with the Iranians. He says that they have agreed to let United States, not troops, just somebody from the United States, go in to Iran with some Iranian officials to collect leftover uranium, what he calls the nuclear dust, and then bring it back somewhere to the United States. That has been the key to all of this. The president earlier today disputed a report in Axios that the U.S. might unfreeze $20 billion in Iranian money in exchange for getting them to fork over all this uranium. He says not a dollar will be exchanged in any way. So we will definitely hear more about this once he gets to Arizona. But there's a lot happening, and it is possible that he doesn't want to get ahead of his team who are talking directly to Tehran.
And so there you have that. And for all the COVID denial crowd on the left, the people already trying to convince themselves that America must have paid for this, Trump made it clear, no palace of cash, no Obama-Biden style payoff politics, according to Trump. This happened because the U.S. turned off their oil, blockaded their ports, and made it clear that America does not sit around negotiating from weakness. It dominates from strength. America didn't buy compliance, it forced it. And so let's check out what the president had to say. Take a listen.
And so I called him and got right to the point, asking if Iran agreed to stop enriching uranium, which is a major sticking point. This is something that even just days ago was something that they weren't saying they would give up to get this deal. He told me that they did agree to that. I said, did they stop enriching uranium? They agreed to that. And he said they agreed to everything, he told me. He asked me, are you surprised? And I asked him if he's surprised. He said, quote, I'm not surprised by anything. And then he said, I'll see you later. We'll be traveling with him on the plane to Arizona. So we hope to get more questions on camera with the president, possibly as he's in transit from Las Vegas to Phoenix, Arizona.
It's important to understand the scale of what we're witnessing here. For 47 years, going all the way back to 1979's hostage crisis, the Iranian regime has been a cancer on the world stage. They haven't just been a threat, they've been a professional instigator. They've harassed our sailors, kidnapped our citizens, funded terror proxies from Hezbollah to Hamas, and marched steadily towards a nuclear weapon. Yeah. And what did presidents in years past do? They monitored the situation. They wrote checks. They sent pallets of cash in the middle of the night. Under the Obama-Biden era of appeasement, the Washington establishment has been a failure factory for foreign policy. They spent 47 years managing the threat, while Iran laughed at us. But Trump stepped into the Oval Office and took on the challenge that every president since Carter has been too terrified to touch. He didn't use strategic patience, which is doing nothing while the enemy gets stronger. He used strategic strength. He didn't just negotiate, he dismantled their leverage. He eliminated their leaders and then proceeded to make life harder and more desperate for the Iranian regime. He slow walked them down the plank, basically, showing them that if they want to play games and send threats, they will be met with force.
But at the end of the day, the president all along, even before he ever took office, has been very clear. Iran, a country that for 47 years has chanted death to America, has threatened our troops in the region and all across the world, can never possess a nuclear weapon. So that is why he took on courageously an action in Operation Epic Fury, something that past presidents talked about but didn't have the courage to take on, whereas now we have achieved all of our military objectives in that operation. Iran's ballistic missiles are destroyed, their navy's at the bottom of the ocean, their proxies are weakened, and that has now also given us maximum leverage to participate in these negotiations. So as he said, those continue with a lot of meaningful progress, and we will certainly keep you apprised as those updates come in.
Now, you would think that every American would be celebrating, but no, the liberal media complex is in a state of absolute meltdown. They spent months telling you that Trump would start World War III. Trump was just making it up as he went along, had no real plan. They're triggered because this level of competence makes their entire worldview, their failure factory of diplomacy, look obsolete. They'd rather have a nuclear-armed Iran than admit Trump was right. Watch the cope start right here. Check it out.
Where do you start with this thing? I think the question is, what can you believe from this president? The lies, he perpetuates lies. None of his reality is grounded in truth. We're in a situation now where he's made a bad situation even worse. What is the objective now? Was it regime change? Because that's not happened. Was it the nuclear weapons? Because we're not even talking about that anymore. Somehow we're focused.
Yes, we are.
Somehow we're focused on
It's literally the only thing we're negotiating over.
Who knows if there is even a negotiation? Who's believing?
You doubting the vice president
Absolutely,
went to Pakistan?
Absolutely.
You believe the administration lied that J.D. Vance flew to Pakistan to negotiate with the Iranians?
But the point is he left.
No, are you saying that was a lie? Was that a fabricated item?
He left with nothing in hand. That is the point.
And we're about to negotiate again?
I'm not sure what we're defining as negotiation.
They will not have a nuclear weapon.
The point is,
period.
We had a deal in place. The president came into office and undermined the plan that Obama put in place.
It allowed nuclear enrichment.
Now we're in a situation where there's all these unknowns. There's incredible implications. We're in an global energy crisis. Gasoline's up. We're at a situation now where we've never, yes, we are, and never in our nation's history have we had such high distrust from our allies and our foes alike. We're in a bind with no sort of clarity on where this thing is headed. And so that's the major concern, is that who knows what to believe and who knows what's next with this president.
I find it incredible that you're doubting that J.D. Vance flew to Pakistan, or that we're actively engaged in diplomacy right now.
He walked away with
the bottom line is this.
And that has been consistent with
we have a
J.D.
goal.
Vance
We have a
and this
goal.
administration.
We have a goal. They're not going to have nuclear weapons. And the blockade is working. And we're costing them hundreds of millions of dollars a day.
And we're also costing the American people hundreds of millions of dollars every day.
No,
I paid $6 for gas just yesterday.
Were you in California?
No, I was here in D.C.
Okay.
I was in Virginia.
Oh, another blue area.
No, I was in Virginia.
Congrats.
A
blue area.
$5 in Nevada, where the president is tonight, talking about no tax on tips. Ashley Etienne, Scott Jennings.
Let's really think about what the president did here. And people keep talking about how the strait was open before the war. Well, a lot of things were true before this war, including the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei being alive, along with 40 of his top Iranian officials. Did we forget that? Did you think that if we hit them, they wouldn't try to hit back in some type of way? And one of those ways was believing they could close the strait and use that as leverage. But not so fast. We implemented a blockade that stopped 14 vessels in 72 hours. That began to choke them financially. Check it out.
When the president pivoted to this blockade, it was the ultimate checkmate moment. It was like, you think you control this? Yeah. Really? And every pundit said, well, the president and the U.S. didn't think about this. Are you like, that just shows a level of naivete that regardless of where your political leanings are, the idea that no one thought about it, as if the strait, the Navy did a whole series of this thing in the 1980s, but the blockade to me was the ultimate checkmate moment, which was, okay, we'll show you how brilliant it was to think that you could control this thing. And here we are today talking about the Iranians capitulating, opening it wide open because the economic stranglehold that we put on the world.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's important that we all understand what we are watching here now and listen. The panicans and Trump derangement crowd, I don't expect them to give Trump credit for pulling this off. But the reality is, look at what Trump has done. The the results from Venezuela to Cuba to now Iran. That cannot be denied. No matter how much they want to try and make it look negative, look at the results. That's what I always say. Just look at the results. And when you do, you can't deny it. Take a listen.
No doubt. 47 years, and Republican presidents, Democrat presidents have articulated the goal, which is a non-nuclear Iran. He took it on, and he took it on with force. To those Democrats, I just want to postulate a counterfactual to them. If you rewound 12 months, okay? So let's go back to April 2025. And if you said to those Democrats, what would you say, Democrats, if we told you 12 months from now that Maduro would be in handcuffs, that Fordo would be bombed, that Gaza, there would be a peace deal, a ceasefire, that 7 other conflicts would be solved, that Israel and Lebanon would be engaging in talks for the first time in, 34 years, perhaps joining the Abraham Accords. If you told them the Ayatollah is dead, Fordo bombed, as I mentioned, and the Strait of Hormuz still open, they would say impossible. Impossible to do that in 12 months. But President Trump has proven that he makes the impossible possible. And he does it because he puts force behind words. And you saw this with the naval blockade. He said, we will board your ships, Iran. And what happened? No Iranian ships went out of the port, went through the strait because they knew he meant action. He has taken action. And this is the hardest deal I think that could ever be made, because you are sitting across from someone who is not a rational actor, someone who does not care about self-preservation, someone who does not care if they die because they have religious fanatical beliefs as to what happens when they die. This is the hardest deal ever made. And if he pulls this off, he is the greatest deal maker of all time. So Harold,
the bottom line is this: you neutralize enough of the radicals and eventually you're going to run into a few survivors who value their life far more than they value a mushroom cloud, because we hold every single card in the deck. But the America Last crowd, the people rooting for America's collapse, just can't handle that reality. If one thing that I come to understand with our president is that just let him do his thing, right? And you don't have to agree with every detail of everything, but ultimately, if you are American, we all should have the same desired outcome, and that's for us to come out on top. And that's what we are watching now as Iran is folding. It's just that these things are slower than what people on the outside want them to be, and they pretend that these are not problems that have global implications, that you just don't play out like you're watching a season of your favorite TV show. But those are my thoughts in the update. Drop your comments down below. Let me hear it back from you. As always, enjoy the content. Smash that thumbs up. Subscribe for more. And as always, until next time.